Hello, I'm Justin Hornburg. I'm an actuary and consultant working in group insurance and employee benefits, and thank you for watching this short video about R. A LinkedIn connection of mine recently made a post in which she alluded to the fact that if you are looking only at the average age of a group, you're going to be missing some important information about that group. And that's completely true. And my comment to that was that while you can use Excel, which is probably the most common tool used by underwriters and actuaries in group insurance, you can use Excel to get more than just an average of a group. It's actually a little bit easier and quicker to do it with other tools that are out there, such as R and Python. And in this short video, I'd like to give you a demonstration of what I'm talking about using R. I hope that this video will whet your appetite to learn more about R and use it in your work. But before I go into the demo, I'd like to just provide some background information. What is R? Well, R is a free software environment that is for statistical computing and graphics. And I've put here a link to the website where you can go to get and download R and install it on your computer. I use RStudio, which is an integrated development environment, which makes R a lot easier to use. And I've also provided a link to RStudio where you can go and download that and also install it on your computer. You might be wondering, why would I use R? Well, I think of R as being a combination of Excel, Access, and statistics. It's really quite a comprehensive package. For me, R doesn't replace Excel, and it's not what I'm advocating. It's very effective to use them in tandem, and in fact, I do that all the time. Finally, R really enables you to very quickly and easily see your data. And in the context of this video, we're talking about see beyond just simply an average. So let's dive in and take a look at what R can do. This is Excel right now. This is a census file that you might use for an RFP or a data analytics project. Typically, we receive data in Excel, and what we need to do is bring this data into R. So now let's take a look at R. Now what you're looking at here is RStudio, is my RStudio screen. And the screen is basically broken up into four quadrants. The upper left-hand quadrant here is where I've stored some commands that we're going to use in this video. The bottom left-hand quadrant here is called the console, and this is where we're going to type in commands and get our results. In the upper right-hand corner is where it's called our environment, and this is where data and other things are stored that we're going to use while we're working on this project. In this case, there's no data in here yet, there's just a function. And down here in the bottom right-hand quadrant is a place where we can see all the files that are in the working directory, the working Windows folder that we're working in. And it's a place also where things like graphs and you can get help. So the first thing we need to do if we're going to analyze this census file in R is to actually read it in to our RStudio project here. And that's done very easily with a command such as this, which basically says assign census to the value of a function which reads in an Excel file. And that function is called read_xlsx. So we execute that command. I just cut and pasted it from the top down here to the console. And you can see now in our environment, we've actually got the census file, and we can click on it and we can see it in the upper left-hand corner. And this looks like a spreadsheet, but we can't actually do anything with it. There's no spreadsheet functionality here, but it is helpful to be able to see your data in this way. So the next thing I want to show you is another function here called summary. And we can cut and paste this, or we can actually just type it down here, summary of census. And what summary does is for the fields on the census file that are numeric fields, such as the basic life amount, the AD&D amount, and the age, this shows us a little statistical distribution of the values in that field. So for example, for age, we can see that the minimum is 18, the first quartile, which is the 25th percentile, is 38, the median is 48, the mean is 47.01, the third quartile, which is the 75th percentile, is 56, and the maximum is 97. So the oldest person on this file is 97. It also shows us the number of NAs, or not applicables, which are missing values. And that's very important to know when doing a data analysis, because missing values can really plague your analysis. For fields that are character fields, such as in this case gender and division name, it doesn't really give us a whole lot of information other than to tell us how many of them there are. But this next function I'm going to show you will give us more information about that. This summary underscore f function is a little custom function that I wrote, and it's very easy to write custom functions in R. What this does is before running the summary function, it actually converts every field on the file to a factor. Now, what is a factor? A factor can be thought of as a character field where we actually care what the characters are. So, for example, in this case, gender is either F or M, and we do care about that because it is important for us to know how many females and how many males there are. So we can see that now that by running a summary of gender as a factor, R will actually show us how many of them there are. There are some times where you might not care what a character field is. So, for example, if you have a first name or last name field, you don't really care how many Jones or Smiths there are. But for fields such as gender, you do care about that. And what I really like about using this convert it to a factor and then do a summary is for the numeric amounts, while above here, the regular summary function gives us a little statistical distribution. If we treat these numerical amounts as factors, this actually shows us how many of each occurrence there are. So for example, what this first line says is that for the value of $43,000 for basic life, there are 57,520 people who have that value. Or in this case, the second line, it shows us that there are 12,001 people on this file who have $53,000 of basic life. This is very useful information, I find, to get a really quick sense of the data of your group and does it match the plan design that you've been given, say, for example, with an RFP. So I find this kind of analysis to be extremely useful. The last thing I want to show you is a histogram. Now, this little command here, hist census $age, basically says take the census file, take the age field on it, and do a histogram. So one way we can execute commands from the upper left-hand corner of the screen is just go into this row and hit Control Enter. And now over here to the right, we have a histogram of the ages. And we already knew what the maximum age was of 97 and what the minimum was from looking at the summary. But now we really get to see a full breadth of what's going on with the ages in this group. So this was a very quick video showing you just three functions: readxl, summary, and hist. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of functions available in R. This just scratches the surface, but I hope that it gives you a little bit of an idea of why I like using R so much and how I think it can help you be a better underwriter, analyst, or actuary. Thank you for watching.